Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Michael, a.k.a. Rickshaw, and welcome to Worship and Tribute Nerd. Today, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. We all saw it yesterday, but first and foremost, we have
Juan
and
Mikey,
and we're here to, talk shit or give it praise.
Oh, that's something new. I haven't done that yet.
Which one do we think?
Roll the dice.
I think praise. I
talk
praise
shit.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
gonna be
actually-
praised. Yeah.
trash.
I liked it a whole lot.
I was really into it.
So was I. I was laughing a lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot. It was really good.
Yeah, it was.
You want my truly honest opinion?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
It was fucking garbage.
You're a goddamn liar.
It was so amazing.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal, Gyllenhaal,
Gilly. Gilly Reed.
You know what? It's funny that everybody, we were talking about Batman a second ago, and everybody's like freaking out about Rob Patterson or whatever. Like, oh, the Twilight dude's gonna be the Batman. Nobody ever was like, you're casting Bubble Boy as something. You know what I mean? Like, it was like he was already just like, yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal, he's good, man, he's good. It was never like, fucking Bubble Boy, really?
Yeah, that's true. It's like, oh man, Jake Gyllenhaal's a good choice. Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
But
And I don't think a lot of it happened, and I admit it that I did it. Whenever they cast
Heath Ledger. Yeah.
Oh.
when they cast Heath Ledger as a Joker, I was like, the
What?
dude from Brokeback Mountain? Like, that was honestly my first thought.
Right.
And I was like, no, this is a terrible idea.
Oh,
And
wow.
then-
That's where you went.
Yeah.
I was like, the dude from 10 Things I Hate About You? Really?
I mean,
And then, but obviously I was wrong, and I fully admit I was way wrong because he was amazing in that role. So like now I try to really not judge somebody in the role. I'm like, you know what? I want to see what happens.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Affleck, when he was first cast as Batman, at first I had my first like, whoa, wait. And then I was like, you know what, though? Batman's not that hard to play. Bruce
Right.
Wayne's hard to nail. And
Right.
he nailed it. So I
But
think he did great. He was a good
we
job.
are getting off subject though.
Sorry.
Chris,
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
we are. Spider-Man.
But yeah. I was just comparing it to, just because Jake Gyllenhaal's in it, and he's wearing the bubble helmet, and it made me think of Bubble Boy. But anyways, yeah, like he was awesome casting, and what about him really?
Well, if you remember my last video, I was talking about how I wanted it to go a certain way in doing this, and it went a completely different direction, which
Yeah.
was, honestly, they did it really well. I mean, I'm not complaining about that. It was really cool how they did it. And it, also knowing who Mysterio is and how he is in the comic books, I thought the way they portrayed him in the trailers, there's no way he was going to be like that. But it turned out that, no, it's exactly what he was, 100%. And I was
Spoilers.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is a spoiler video, anyways.
yeah,
Oh,
we
is
should
it
probably,
okay?
Yeah, we're doing spoiler video.
yeah.
All
So-
right. I didn't know if you were
It's in the
gonna, like,
title.
at some point, like,
Right.
spoilers.
I think it's really, unless you're like already an established YouTuber, like to do a review without spoilers, like, like if you're a famous YouTuber, sure, people are like, I want to click that right now because I want to know if I should go, right? Well, this is more of a
Fair enough.
we're gonna go see like every movie, even the ones that suck, because I went to see Dark Phoenix, and then
Yeah.
and then talk about it afterwards. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So.
I gotcha.
But yeah, the thing about Mysterio is like everyone who reads comic books is like something's going on with Mysterio. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but even as someone who read comic books and knew that could go down, they gave it to me in a way that I just finally started believing. Like maybe he is a good guy, but then also like the way that he played that character, it was almost like he was like kind of a bad actor while he was trying to be good. And then all of a sudden the curtain lifts and he's like, "Oh, we did it, guys. Yeah." You know what I
Oh
mean?
my
Like,
Whenever he's like, and then making up that story about being from another dimension, that is crazy. And here I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, yeah,
right. Yeah.
I
But
believe that.
I still want a goddamn multiverse though. You know
I do.
what I mean?
Hey, it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Right. That's
just
true.
saying.
That's true.
I feel like on
Yeah.
you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah. Right. Mikey.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Right.
I had like a bunch of stuff in my head that I was gonna be like, oh, this, and this. Oh, okay, I remember the point I was gonna make now. I like how they subverted what you thought he was gonna be like in the movie with that, because in the comics he's like a special effects guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And that they kind of took that and made it like modern to kind of fit the time frame that the MCU takes place in.
Mm-hmm.
I love that that's how they did that. But
they've gotten really good at like
recreating
something with like a new, like a 2019
spin to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm actually glad that they didn't stick to strictly how Vulture is in the comic books, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe his comic book ability is like he's able to like essentially he's like a super old man with like this weird like vulture costume, and he like sucks your life force out to make himself younger. Am I right? I think that's how it's supposed to be.
Oh,
I think so. Maybe I
I
also was never a huge fan of Vulture, like to the point of ever reading a comic.
And it's so funny that they took two. Well, I think Mysterio is probably a more popular Spider-Man villain, but Vulture is definitely like who, like when like unless you're like an uber Spider-Man nerd, but and they made that great. So
did you know that in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man Part 4, they were gonna have the Vulture, right? And did you know who's gonna play the Vulture?
Yes, I do. Do you, Mikey?
I don't actually.
It would have been awesome. I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
John Malkovich. So good.
Been fucking perfect.
So good.
Dude, he would have looked like they yanked him out of the comic book.
Exactly. Not saying that Michael Keaton did a bad job. I am very happy with Michael Keaton
fits for how they decided to portray him in that movie.
He's just like every guy, like, oh yeah, I'm just working down at the speaking of your shirt. I'm just working down at the docks trying to make a living for me and my family. Right. You know, that's just that kind of guy.
One of the biggest surprises that I'm sure everybody freaked out about was Joe Jonah Jameson in the end of it. No one, did you not freak out about that?
I had to go pee.
Are you kidding me?
Missed that too?
You missed Joe Jonah Jameson?
I left at the credits.
Dude, it was the same guy as the old Spider-Man movies.
I left after I didn't see it. I saw the
because they had two post-credit scenes. They had the one that's like
So you missed that whole. Okay, so you missed both of the after.
I got up and I had to go pee.
Okay, so what about, did you see the part where Spider-Man's swinging and then he drops off Mary Jane or MJ? He drops off MJ and then like a message comes on in Times Square
from like the Daily Bugle, and
it was Daily Bugle, and it was Joe Jonah Jameson played by fucking what's his name?
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons, and he was like, Spider-Man is a menace, and we have this new footage of Mysterio's character, and it was like, this is
hang on just a second before we continue with this. I just want to say, like, what I liked about how they did this one is that they basically took like the Daily Bugle and made it almost like
an internet thing.
Like it was like InfoWars, and J. Jonah Jameson was like Alex Jones.
Right.
So it was like a conspiracy thing. It was so amazing.
Yeah, so he was like,
I gotta watch it again.
Yeah. So
I have to watch it again.
So listen, he's like, you know, Spider-Man is a menace, you know, and like, and and then he's like, we got this footage from Mysterio, whatever, Beck, and this was like before he died. He sent footage that he was recording, and then it made Spider-Man look like the bad guy. It made him look like the villain, and it made him look like he killed Mysterio. And then it was a personal message from Beck, and he was like, before he finds me, I just want to tell everyone that I'm being attacked by Spider-Man, and his real name is Peter Parker.
What?
Yeah,
I can't believe you missed that part, dude.
And it's funny,
and it's in Times Square. In Times Square, they revealed like all over the internet who he is.
I literally.
So he was like, Spider-Man's just like, oh.
Yeah.
For the record, when I got here, I told them, hey, I didn't see the post-credit scenes because I had to go pee. What did I miss? Oh, just nothing. So I looked it up on YouTube, and I saw the scroll
we
one.
We did not say nothing. We said a lot.
And I looked at the scroll one, right? And I looked at, okay, cool. There wasn't Nick Fury all along. It was a scroll one. And that was all I knew. They didn't tell me about this. That was nothing.
That was like... But that one was like, listen, the movie ended, and then like the thing said Spider-Man, and then it showed like the top actors, which was like maybe a 3-minute reel, and then it showed.
Yeah, I had to pee really bad.
And then it showed that. So it was like it came right back with it.
I had to pee really bad, man. And I came back, and it was the black credits, so I was like, screw it, I'm done. I held the whole time. Mind you, I went to the early morning showing, had a pot of coffee before I went there, and had more coffee when I went there. So actually, I held it for quite a long time. I did think I did great. That was a good job.
Yeah. So, anyways, Juan missed probably one of the better parts of the whole movie.
Yeah, and then when I asked about it, like, oh, nothing, not really that much.
Oh, at least we got you on camera with your real reaction. Be like, what? My name is Juan.
That's messed up, man. That's messed up.
Well, anyways.
One thing I want to say.
Anyways.
I am
probably.
too.
I think I'm probably going to take the wife to go see it for sure. But what I like about it so much is what I was saying in the last video about Spider-Man 2. One of the things I liked about it were like how he had to like really sacrifice himself to like for the people.
Yeah.
And there was like a lot of that.
The dude just wants to be
He was just taking a beating.
Yeah.
To try to, come out on top and be the hero.
He got hit by a fucking train,
dude.
I know.
Oh, man, it was so good.
And he's still just trying to go, hey, Mary, MJ, I mean,
yeah.
I'm still trying to make this work. I'm still got this plan.
Hey, hang on, but did they really not refer to her as Mary Jane at all?
No,
it's just MJ.
It's just MJ,
because her... Okay, so like they're just doing a thing where it's not supposed to be her, but it's her. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So they're just redesigning the character,
but they don't want to piss too many people off. I don't think.
So she's MJ, but it's like what they said her name was like Michelle Johnson or something in the early one or something. I don't know. Michelle for sure. They said Michelle. But anyways, yeah, like. I actually seen a video last week that was like, whoa, like recasting someone, in a different ethnicity is like such bullshit. And I'm like, I agree with that, but like
I don't.
In the Marvel world, like they do it in their own comics. You know
exactly.
What I mean? Like even Nick Fury is like a recasting because he was a white guy.
The white guy in the beginning. He was basically David Hasselhoff.
You're
with
right,
an eye
right.
patch.
Exactly.
and then they basically made him Sam Jackson,
and then
with an eye patch later.
I think in the comics they were just like, yeah, it's his son. It's like his long lost son, and and so then it was just like, wait, how? And then
was this like after Nick Fury died? Because wasn't that like a big comic book event when there was like the white Nick Fury died?
From what I understand, seriously, the way that it went down is they were doing the MCU. It was like they were like, all right, we're gonna start these MCU movies, but we want to. We don't know who's going to play Nick Fury. Well, like this is still like years, before the movie actually came out. And from what I read, it was like, we kind of want Samuel L. to play him, but they never brought it up with him. So then in the comics, they just started like they like kind of remodeled the character and then said it was like the regular Nick Fury's son, I think is how they correct me if I'm wrong. But then, and then he's a black guy now. But then Nick Fury, not Nick Fury, Samuel L., I guess, apparently in that same couple of years or something when they started drawing him like that, saw himself in a comic while he was like at the store or something. And like took the comic home and was like, that's me. And then called Marvel and was like, can I be Nick Fury? And they were like, we kind of made the character designed after you. And we were eventually going to see if he would be Nick Fury. So he was just like, well, good thing I called. So, but I don't know if that's like complete bullshit, but that's like a whole thing that I read and it, correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. The only thing I know of really Nick Fury was like, there was like a big crossover. It was like one of the first like comic book crossover events that I remember. And it was like the death of Nick Fury and the Punisher killed him.
What?
And there was like this big thing where like they're all trying to catch him. Huh? Why did he do it?
No, just Juan just like,
Blew my
what?
mind.
Like everything we're telling him is like, what?
Well, no, the Punisher killed Nick Fury. I mean, I think that's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Well, they basically like it was almost like somebody set it up to make it look like Nick Fury was the cause of the Punisher's family dying. So he went to go kill Nick Fury, and it was like this just big event, and there was like a bunch of like character crossovers, like Ghost Rider and stuff like that. So.
I want to see a good Ghost Rider movie. Not that the other ones were bad; they
were.
But that's not what we're getting into. Just saying, I want a Ghost Rider movie. I don't know who I want to play Ghost Rider. I don't know what I want it to be about. Don't care. Just want to see Ghost Rider be a badass on a motorcycle with like flames on his head. It's a fucking cool character.
I would like to see eventually the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Would be sick.
Juan, do you even know who Cosmic Ghost Rider is?
No idea.
Cosmic Ghost Rider is Frank Castle, the Punisher.
Yeah, I know who Frank. Yeah.
Yeah, he becomes the Ghost Rider and then becomes like the herald of like Galactus and basically becomes like Ghost Rider, Silver Surfer, Punisher.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
No
pretty.
joke.
Yeah, it's pretty
bananas. But it's the.
That's a lot of layers, man. That's like Shrek. That's an onion.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are just gonna be like, no.
That's an onion. You gotta build up to that, man.
Oh yeah, that's like a million years of the future of like MCU movies.
Exactly. Like right now, I get into Thanos. You could never have done Thanos until you did this. You can't do a lot of the stuff they're doing now. Like this Spider-Man movie wouldn't be so awesome in my mind if it wasn't building off the last Spider-Man movie, which was building off of Civil War, which I mean they're all built on each other.
They've honestly found a new way to connect the dots like every time with something. You know what I mean?
It can be done, but do it well.
Man, all the
If you take your
ties that this
time.
movie had with like so many other MCU movies was like crazy.
Yeah.
This is
Like
exactly
when they showed the guy from the first Iron Man flick, the bald guy.
Oh,
yeah.
And I was like, isn't that the dude from the first Iron Man movie?
Right.
And then it just all tied back in. And I was like,
They tied everything in. Like yeah, exactly. It was mind blowing. It was great.
I mean, I guess that's why it would be the end of the phase because it had so much to do with Tony Stark's character.
yeah.
Well, even then, like I know, like growing up, I like comic books because of that. They had all this stuff going on, and honestly, I only really read X-Men and I read some Darkhawk and stuff like that. But really, that's all I really dabbled in. But I knew so much else was going on, and whenever they'd show up in my comic book, I was like, "Oh, okay, I kind of see what's going on here," but you don't get the full story.
That's the thing is like they would in comic books they would set things up, and then forget about them. They would like for instance, you know, a new writer could come in and they could just completely forget about something, but then 3 writers later, a new writer will come in and be like, we should bring that shit up. Because, you know, it'll like at the very last page, it'll just be like a dark shadow walks into a room and goes, I want you to kill Spider-Man. And then the other person's like, done. And then you don't hear about it for like 3 years. And then you're like, that's that guy. Finally.
Yeah, exactly. They plant seeds all over the place, and some of them grow, some of them don't.
Well, like so the one specific example I could think of is like so in the comics, there's a point in time. So Miles Morales is from a different reality, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, he's Spider-Man, but they brought him into the 616 so he could like mingle with all the rest of the Avengers, and that's where he lives in the comic books now. And then at one point in time, they were like, who is suspected of like this murder or something like that? And they were like, Miles Morales. And then they were like, wait, who? Miles Morales from this reality? Mm-hmm. So then they bring it up like, who's Miles Morales from this reality if he is hurting people or something like that? And then they left it. They just didn't touch it. So they left everybody thinking, who is Miles Morales of the 616? And that was like even the cover, I think, of one of them was like, who is Miles Morales? And then it had Spider-Man Miles Morales like on the cover, like
I've seen that
like
cover,
what?
I think.
Yeah.
But then they didn't address it for like a couple years after that or something. It was like they just left it hanging to where everybody was like, who is this guy? Mm-hmm. And then when you finally forget, they fucking bring it up again. Killer.
And that's what I think. I mean, I don't know if that's what they're gonna do here, but
it's like Lost.
They have that ability now. You know, they have this lore so deep already. They can kind of go any direction they want.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's pretty cool. I like what they've done. DC, please catch up. Take your time. But you have some cool stories. I want to see them. Shazam's. I mean, still haven't seen it. I need to work on that.
Shazam's awesome. Whenever that comes out, let's watch it.
I think it's out.
Out on Blu-ray?
I think so.
You lie.
I might.
I don't have the internet here, so we'd have to physically.
I know. This guy's over here like, he's a pilgrim.
Here I am, trying to start a YouTube show, and I don't even have fucking internet. Jesus, Lord in heaven.
What can you do? First world problems.
I know, right? Anyways.
Hotspot it.
Something I wanted to bring up, I was thinking about when you guys were talking, was with all the advertisements I've been seeing for the movie and how they're like the best superhero movie ever, including Endgame. I'm like,
for what? For Spider-Man?
Yeah. For
Far
From
really?
Home, yeah.
Including?
Yeah, they're like saying that it's like
very different.
It's
very different.
Just
yeah,
different.
this one's a lot more fun. I tell you that.
Yes,
it's a whole lot more fun. Endgame was engaging. It was a beatdown, but it was a good beatdown. But it was a beatdown. It was sad, and you see all these things going on, and it was kind of cathartic. Like you got through it. It was just
Well, there's a difference between an event. An event and just another chapter.
If Endgame was like the end of the chapter and everything, Far From Home is like the PS or like the little, hey, you know what? Mm-hmm. This kind of happened afterwards. Have this to kind of
right. It would be like if you got the deluxe, like the deluxe version that had like the epilogue at the end of it.
Yeah, this is the epilogue.
Actually, it kind of makes me to tie it back into comic books. How like Civil War, the first Civil War, they had like all of these like other comic books for like other characters that were like taking place
like simultaneously.
Yeah, simultaneously. Yeah, like I remember I read the Wolverine one that was like taking place simultaneously that the rest of Civil War was going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what this reminds me of, honestly, more than anything else, is like the last. Seems like 3 hours of the Lord of the Rings. It's not that long, but after
the last 3 hours,
after they throw the ring in there, and then after that they're just like going back home, and it's like, oh my god, I gotta pee.
Like the five different endings.
Exactly.
Oh, the movie's over. Oh no, wait, no, it's not.
And it just keeps going.
Yeah.
This movie is that for the MCU.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it shows what goes on afterwards. Life goes on. Everything's hunky dory, and it kind of ties in, but it's really its own story. And instead of tacking it on the end for another 3 hours and people got to pee, they just make a whole movie of it.
So what Sony said recently is they're going to make 9 Spider-Man movies. There's going to be 3 in high school, 3 in college, 3 as a straight up Spider-Man.
Are they all going to tie back into the MCU?
Yeah, they're all going to be MCU movies.
So they're all going to have Tom Holland?
Yes.
Yes. So after they give them back the rights, they're just going to be like, okay, you're still going to write for us?
No. They're still going to share.
Even better.
They are making their money, but they still are going to make their own Spider-Man like world with like
the
Venom and
I saw that.
What's
next?
Morbius?
Yeah, Morbius.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're going to have Carnage. I mean, duh.
Oh yeah, Carnage.
Ugh.
Yeah. I just hope they don't mess it up too bad.
They're gonna mess up Carnage, man. You can't do Carnage right.
Dude, speaking of that, like I had fun with Venom when I watched it, but like that end cap when they show Woody Harrelson as Carnage was just like
they're gonna
so bad. I'm like, why'd they have to put this stupid wig on him?
Why did he have to say the word Carnage?
Yeah, that too. Like come on, man. It's
I like what they're going with Carnage, but that's something you don't do that yet.
I like the idea of Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy.
You know what though? If they do that and they just I remember the first time they showed Thanos, it was a long time ago, and they didn't really bring him up until later.
Yeah, I don't think when the first time they showed Thanos in the first Avengers movie, they hadn't even talked about casting
exactly
Roland yet. I don't think.
Right.
So if that's what they're doing with this, I'm okay with it. If they put Carnage as the main villain in the next movie, I'm gonna go watch it, but no.
I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure they're doing Carnage for their
no, it's not. You don't have enough time.
See,
build it up.
I don't like anything that's going on with that whole situation just because you don't have Venom without Spider-Man, and you don't have Carnage without Venom and Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, the reason that all that shit went down is just it's just a domino effect, one into the other. You know what I mean? Like, so how would you even do a movie without Spider-Man? Like, okay, so it's like Spider-Man gets the black suit, and then he rejects the black suit. The black suit finds someone else
who's willing to accept the power.
Who is willing to accept the power, who has a grudge with Spider-Man, or has a grudge with Peter Parker, and the suit has a grudge with Spider-Man. So then they're like butting heads. Then we get another symbiote that comes down, and then Spider-Man and Venom team up to stop Carnage. Like, that's how that shit went down. How, like don't try to do this movie. Like, just leave Carnage out of it. You should never even done Venom.
Because there's not really a reason other than like. There's not really a reason for like Spider-Man and Carnage, or not Carnage, Venom to really like.
You know they should have done
heads,
right,
or have a conflict, except for if they do it, and like how the conflict between Batman and Superman and Batman versus Superman, how like Batman didn't like the way Superman was doing things, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and I feel like that's really the only way they could have conflict is that Spider-Man doesn't like the way Venom handles crime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mike, remember that game, The Darkness, on Xbox 360?
Yeah.
That's what Venom should have been. The special effects with that and everything, even if you get that story, it's not very similar, but they could have shoehorned it into there. That would have been better. And it would have made more sense, and you just have, boom, do that.
They jumped so many years of, like, Venom character build-up.
Well, not only that.
Immediately just Lethal Enforcer.
Right.
They jumped Venom getting his Spider-Man powers. How the
yeah.
Venom wants Spider-Man.
Like, that part I could blow off, but it's just like when I think about it, I'm like, man, they just jumped so much like character building of him finally becoming like what he is basically in the movie.
It just blows my mind. It blows my mind that movie companies can say like, "Oh man, there's a lot of money in this, so we're gonna try and pump it out as fast as we can." And then in reality, if they would have took their time and respected the actual story a little bit better, there is more money in it for you.
Look at MCU, billions of dollars, guys, billions of.
I mean, Venom made stupid amounts of money.
Well, it was
for whatever reason.
Like,
yeah.
Like on a second watching, I just was like rolling my eyes.
Yeah, I only watched the one time. I was like, "Well, this wasn't so bad," and then that was it. And
but see, the reason I do that,
go back and watch it again,
right.
And I feel bad because I mean, on one part of me, I say vote with your dollars. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people go into making a movie. A lot of people do it.
Sure.
And the person who is dressing the set, the person who's hammering all the stuff and doing all that, they didn't write the script. You know,
True.
They didn't phone in a phony acting or whatever. You know, they're just doing their job. I kind of want to give them money too. I don't know. I'm torn because they're going to get paid either way.
Right,
but, you know, I pirated movies for a long time. I'm kind of paying back a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's just disappointing that it's still happening with all these movie companies where they think they could just poop out a little movie,
a little nerd
and make a bunch of money. And
nugget.
Like now that we have fans that actually want, it's actually because of the MCU. It showed us that you could do a real comic book movie.
Yeah.
You could like respect the source material.
Well, Spider-Man is what did it for real for me, man. The first Spider-Man movie.
Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yes, that's what did it, and that's what set my standard so much higher.
Right.
It really did. And then Iron Man, I was like, all right. And honestly, after that, once they did Captain America, the first Avenger, I was like, you got me hooked. Now you got me. That's what really. They did that so good, and they put in like little teasers here and there for the future.
I mean, I feel like there was like there was certain progressions. Like the first one was like. The 1989 Batman was like, this is a comic book movie.
Yeah.
And then, say what you want about X-Men. I wasn't that into it. But then when Sam Raimi Spider-Man came along, I was like, oh, this is what a comic book movie looks like. But then we got Iron Man, and it just built, it took its time to build into every other way we wanted to see comic book movies.
And here's the biggest piece of trash, I think, is that you got Blade way back. And it was
Blade.
That was awesome. Why didn't they just keep going that direction? Blade was great for the time.
But that wasn't even taken as a comic book movie back then. You know what I mean? It was like most people probably didn't even know that he was a Marvel character.
I didn't when I first saw it. I'll be honest, I didn't. I learned after the fact. So
I remember seeing Blade in like Spider-Man the animated series and stuff like that.
That was before the movie?
I think so.
Yeah. Was it? I don't remember.
Way before.
So I just remember being like, how come he doesn't have a lightsaber? Because didn't he have a lightsaber in the comics or in the animated? Anyways, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I always remember for some reason it was in my brain like Blade doesn't have a regular samurai sword. He has a goddamn lightsaber.
In that same like kind of episode, or
I
think there was like a few episodes.
It was Blade. Blade was chasing Morbius, and then Spider-Man like teamed up with him.
Dude, if they brought Blade to the MCU, okay.
Rumors.
Assuming it would be Wesley Snipes, right? If it's not.
I want to see John Boyega doing something in the MCU, and that mock-up of him as Blade I thought was really awesome.
I'm digging that. But Wesley Snipes is so...
I have, yeah.
You know what? I say Wesley Snipes is so much more physically fit and like just like karate, just knows his stuff. That being said, these actors now...
Michael Jai White.
That's Spawn 100%, bro. That's
Spawn. Not anymore.
Why not?
Yeah.
Because now they got
Jamie
Foxx is playing him. And this, if it ever happens, reboot.
You know what?
I'm not mad.
I'm thinking Billy Blanks. You know what I'm saying?
Billy Blanks,
dude. Oh my god. No offense to Billy Blanks. I'm sure he's a great guy. But dude, I'm about to freaking diamond cut your ass.
I honestly can't really think of anybody that I really feel like would really
Shaun T.
fit that. Shut up. Fit that role.
You're trolling me, bro.
Like Blade, like Wesley Snipes was so spot on,
perfect,
right,
for that at the time.
But I could see Jamie Foxx being Blade too. Honestly, I could see him being Spawn. I like Jamie Foxx.
Right. I mean, Jamie Foxx is.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Remember when he was in Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Shut up. That doesn't count, man. He was horrible.
That's what I think
dude.
too.
He was
that
horrible.
movie just
what
doesn't
we need to
count.
do is we need to go back in time and get young Keith David from like the Thing and They Live era and bring him back and he can play Blade.
Ooh. Yeah. It's like, I can't even do
it. I can't do a Keith David voice either, but
like, some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. And then he does that smile with him.
Oh my god. That's like the dumbest fucking line.
Oh my god, that was the best line.
No, I heard that was unscripted.
Oh my god. Like some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill and then he kicks that thing into his fucking dome.
Yeah.
What the
Man, it was so good.
They're like, in the script it was probably
it
in the script it was just like the whole movie was on paper, and then at that moment it was just like, let Wesley do whatever he needs to do. And then they're like, Wesley, so like you're gonna say something, you're gonna say like something really cool, and then you're gonna spin kick this needle into his head. And okay, ready, action. Some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. And everybody, they're like, cut.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
One take.
Oh man. That first Blade movie was so good.
It was good.
It was awesome. Anyways.
I love Guillermo del Toro, but I'm not really a fan.
What are you talking about?
Which one did he do? Blade 2 or 3?
He did Blade 2.
Okay, then I like Blade 2. Blade
David
3.
Goyer,
Blade 2
the
was pretty
writer
good.
of all three movies, he directed the third one. I like parts.
It was all
of
right.
The third one.
But it wasn't. It didn't feel like it kicked as much ass as the other two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you left, you're like, okay, that was a movie.
Part 3 is the one with Deadpool in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deadpool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what he was. Deadpool with a beard.
Right.
Oh my God, Ryan Reynolds, you have come so far.
Yes.
You have come so far.
Oh, that's so funny that he was just Deadpool in a bunch of movies, and they weren't even real versions of Deadpool. It was just like, it's close.
It almost feels. Sometimes it's one of those things that how they basically made Nick Fury like
Samuel
Sam Jackson. It almost feels like it was like Deadpool was written to be.
Which
Ryan
is really
Reynolds.
funny because Ryan Reynolds had no idea who Deadpool was until someone sent it to him, and he was like, "Holy shit, that should be me."
I mean, it's basically Ryan Reynolds.
It is 100%. I mean,
well, there was a point in time where he wasn't like all jokes for a while. It was like
when he first.
I don't know how when he first came out. I know he was just about business, just about murdering, and then slowly as we saw the character, he would just start saying little funny things, and then eventually it picked up to where he was just like, I'm full blown crazy and I hear voices.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm wondering if it's gonna eventually come to that with the movies, with Deadpool. I mean, like eventually he starts to hear the voices in his, because I believe, if I remember correctly, there's specifically two voices.
There's two voices.
It's like two separate personalities that talk to him all the fucking time.
Right.
Dude, if they do something like they did in Far From Home with him being in all that crazy CGI world, hologram world, with Deadpool in it, that'd be nuts.
What are you talking about, dude?
You know, in Far From Home, whenever he's fighting Mysterio, and he has him in that fucking where he's all illusions and stuff.
Right.
Watching Deadpool go crazy in that same scenario would be pretty nuts. Not in the same scenario, but whatever, man. I'm stretching. Cut that part. Just cut that.
Speaking of Spider-Man again, dude, when he like
trying to tie it back in,
grabbed the fucking gun, dude. That part was so fucking badass.
I know, dude.
I didn't know what happened for a second.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was like, I thought he caught a bullet between his. That's what I thought. I thought he caught a bullet in his hand. I was like, nice. But then I realized that it was like when the pan. I was like,
illusion.
This Peter Tingle
works. It was an illusion. Dude, it was technology. Black Mirror. Child's Play. It's all about technology. It's gonna get us. We're all fucked.
The movie was so amazing.
This is what movies are teaching us, that we should be scared of our technology, and we're just like, this is fun.
When's the new iPhone come out?
I
want those glasses.
Those glasses would be so cool.
I think this was the first time in a movie other than Endgame in a while that like I just thought about like a lot when I got home.
Mm-hmm.
Like for whatever reason with Endgame, I could not shake the idea of Captain America at the end of the movie when he like goes back in time and just spends the rest of his life with Peggy. For some reason that kept me awake at night. The first, and I don't know why, man. I just kept thinking about it.
How can someone be happy married?
He's like, oh, this person. Wait, is old man Mikey amongst us?
I just don't. It was like the weirdest thing. I just kept thinking about it.
I saw too that he was like spotted in old movies. Like there's like a mystery character like at the funeral that's like an old dude.
What?
And you see the back of his head and he's kind of balding and gray. And I think there was another scene where like,
oh my god, if they planted those seeds all the way back then, which it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
So you have to think too, they talked about how Peggy got married and like settled down with someone, but they never say who. So was old man Cap just there the whole time?
My only problem with that theory is like with the other chick that they introduced in Winter Soldier that was like her niece.
Yeah, he made out with
he
made out with Peggy's
you're like,
is that
related.
his own? Is that his own niece? Or is that
if we're to follow that specific logic, then that's like some incestual ass shit, man.
Maybe he didn't.
That's
know
why
it
I just did like at first I was like, oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool if that was the case, and then I thought about that and I was like, no.
It's
like a Luke Skywalker moment where like later on, like he's like, oh wait a minute,
here's a fun fact. You made out with your sister.
They don't even reference that in the Star Wars movies. Not once. It like happened and they were like,
whatever.
It didn't happen.
Whatever.
Forget about it.
It's cool.
Goodfellas.
I feel like Han should have definitely brought that up at some point.
I mean, you know, they got the
you made out with your
Force.
brother.
They were like in the Force. They were like, "Yeah, sorry about making out with you." Yeah, well, so,
you know. So what's the next movie coming out? There's another one coming out.
What do you
MCU,
mean? MCU? No, we're done this year. We're done this year.
Black Widow's not till next year.
Right.
Wow.
where the fuck is that gonna go?
Wow. Well, now that we know that anything that ever happens can be tied into something new by the MCU, like it could be based on equipment, it could be based on like
they'll figure it
like
out.
some sort of relic.
That really, speaking of that movie, like I expected like something to happen to either Tony or Cap, but like,
are you talking about Endgame?
yeah,
Okay.
but when Natasha died, I was like, what?
Yeah, the one person you just didn't expect.
Yeah,
It's like they got
because
a
I really thought, I was like, okay, I know that how this is supposed to work. One of them is supposed to sacrifice themselves, but they're gonna figure something out. They're gonna figure out that the Red Skull's full of shit, and nobody has to die. And I was wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
I was so wrong.
And then Cap had to return that stone. You have to remember too.
Yeah.
So
I want to see that movie.
So
like,
did you ever see that meme?
deleted scene?
Did you ever see that meme that was like, Steve, son of a bitch, you're alive.
Oh man,
that's good. So moving forward in the Spider-Man movies, Peter Parker, everyone knows. So what's gonna happen with that?
Dude, that's gonna be wild.
They're gonna have to reverse it though. How would they reverse that?
The Men in Black. Getting
Well,
involved.
no. Well,
We'll call Chris Hemsworth in the Men in Black.
Yeah, 'cause that's right. Yeah, and I always do roles.
is that part of the MCU?
No.
Well, I mean, it is a comic.
I mean, yeah, but
is it- I mean,
no.
okay.
Jeezoid.
What the G's always mean? No, I mean, it is. Are they Marvel? At
No,
least?
I don't
it's
think
not.
so.
No.
Well, okay, that's all those.
Why would they cast?
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, is the Men in Black?
I don't think the comic has anything to do with each other.
That's not what.
No.
Does the Men in Black, are they published in the comic book world?
Not all
By
comic
themselves.
books tie in together. One.
That's not what I'm
It's not-
asking.
Spawn's not involved with the MCU.
I know. I'm just
Superman's not Marvel.
saying. Is answer my question.
Wildcats aren't going to meet the X-Men somewhere down the line.
Well, yeah,
I
'cause
think-
it's Image.
Okay.
Duh.
I
know
think
that.
I think Men in Black
Hellboy
is a
is not
comic.
going to run into anybody.
It is a comic. I know that.
Okay.
Is it published by Marvel? That's
No,
all I'm
I don't
asking.
think so.
No.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. Y'all, I know that they're not. Oh, I love you, Mikey.
Cap's not going to meet
I know.
Hellboy
I get that.
or Prince Valiant.
I mean, you never know. obviously.
You know what? We need another.
Or like
you know
Rogue
that we've done.
Trooper
There was
or Judge
definitely
Dredd.
there was a bunch
get
of
it.
there was a bunch of DC Marvel crossovers. Did you ever see those in the 90s?
Well, that makes
Hey,
a little more sense.
Batman
to me, I
met
guess.
Spawn. They did all that whole
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
That was
there are
pretty
those
cool.
kind of crossovers.
And
I
I
have that
think
comic
Batman
book,
and
by the way.
Spider-Man too, right?
Spatman,
Batman and Spider-Man.
Night Monkey.
Night
Night
Monkey.
Monkey.
That was awesome. Isn't he called Night Monkey in the other countries or something?
I don't know. I have no
No, that's
idea.
some shit they made up, dog.
Is it?
No,
I don't
that's
know.
Spider-Man.
I know they have some
Yeah, that
weird
was
stuff
Japanese,
going on
yeah.
because
And he had
I
like a
watched
car and a robot.
I watched it at the Alamo Draft House,
And
and
they had the Spider-Man.
they had the Turkish Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you missed that because you got there late.
Yeah.
I watched
Dealing
that.
with internet
It
problems.
was pretty dope.
Yeah,
Turkish Spider-Man was pretty cool. He
It
was
was
real
hilarious.
gangster.
dude, he was mean. He like ate a guy's face off with a rat. Then he laughed about
Hamsters.
it. What was a hamster?
Yeah, they were.
What was that? It's
It
a
was
rodent.
so weird. I was like, the fuck? That
Rats.
was like their
Any rodent is disgusting.
like turn off your cell phone warning.
Yeah.
Was like turn off your cell phone and be quiet, or Turkish Spider-Man's gonna stick hamsters on your face.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. I believe them.
Well, you guys want to wrap it up?
Sure.
It's a wrap.
All right, we said our piece about Spider-Man.
We loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Are we allowed to give it like a number rating? Or
Sure,
Something?
go ahead.
It was a 3,000.
Out of
I loved it 3,000.
okay, well, anyways,
No, it was a
I thought it was
a
awesome.
fucking 10. It was amazing. It was everything I loved about Spider-Man, like the Raimi Spider-Man 2, but like
well,
turned up to,
I just
11.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel like Sam Raimi made traditional style Spider-Man movies, and we haven't seen that yet from the MCU. They're like, let's go crazy on shit we've never gotten before, in Spider-Man. So I think that once we get to adult Spider-Man, like if they're really going to do a trilogy, then we're going to see like straight up New York City Spider-Man being like the smartest person ever and fighting Sinister Six by that time.
Oh,
you know
my
what
God.
I mean?
Don't
Which
you?
I always
Oh, my God.
for some reason there's
God.
a comic book frame I always think about to like adult Spider-Man, like he's like leaving the gravesite of like Aunt May with MJ, and like some muggers come at him, and he's like all sad and distraught, and they point a gun at him, and he just reaches out and squeezes the gun into like junk metal, and then like walks off. That's like one of the, for some reason, the one comic book frame of Spider-Man that is just like drilled into my brain.
If they could bring in, I don't know if they could do this, and it'd be cool if they did though, is bring in Harvey Fisk from the Daredevil into the, because I mean, I think
Wilson Fisk, you mean?
What
the
I
fuck
call
is
him?
Harvey Fisk?
Oh my God, yeah, wow. I'm thinking Harvey Dent for some reason. That's way
Harvey
off.
I mean, I think
Samsonite.
that we're eventually gonna get that though. We're gonna get Daredevil in their
Would
version.
it be that Daredevil
No,
though?
it's
No,
not gonna be.
it's
I
It
know.
not gonna be
really
that
sucks.
version.
And
'cause-
Vincent D'Onofrio was a
dude.
He was a
perfect.
badass Fisk.
Well, so I thought the guy that plays Matt was fucking great. Like,
Same here, yeah.
Dude, that dude. They casted those shows so perfectly.
Og?
Huh?
What about Og?
Yeah, he was. I mean, I don't.
I'm just kidding.
I don't follow.
He was a Mighty Duck. Augie?
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah.
Augie.
Foggy?
Oh, Foggy.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
God,
thought it was
what's wrong with
Augie.
you two?
I forgot it was.
I
Foggy.
knew-
Harvey
well, it's been a
Fisk,
while.
Augie.
That was a big one though.
I think it's probably time to cut it off before
All
these
right.
two morons have seizures.
All right, we're gonna cut it out.
Thanks a lot,
hey,
Mikey.
Hey, happy 4th of July, everybody. Be safe and don't go drinking and driving and stuff.
Remember,
you freaking morons.
like, comment, share, subscribe.
All right, we'll see you
You
later.
demanding they do that, Mikey?
I was.
See ya.
Do it.